Part 2 begins with Ethan scaling the mountain walls and making his way through the woods. On his way, he is ambushed by the carnivorous creatures who kidnapped Sheriff Pope. He tries to shoot those creatures, but they are too fast for him to aim at. Despite this, he kills one of them, causing the others to flee. Back in Wayward Pines, Ben decides to go to school with his friends, but Teresa forbids him. She believes they should be extra cautious because they are still unaware of the mysterious city. However, Ben claims that she was the one who told him to act along, and as a result, he storms out. Upon reaching the school, Ben and the other two students are summoned to a room for orientation. In the orientation, Megan informs them about the carnivorous creatures referred to as abbeys, which are genetic mutants that resemble humans. According to Megan, abbeys travel in herds and have far superior smelling and listening abilities than humans. She also claims that the abbeys are capable of killing an armed soldier in a matter of minutes. On the other hand, Teresa attends her first day of work as a Wayward Pines realtor. She is assigned with the job of giving away the houses to the people rather than selling them. Following this, Teresa goes to the hospital to meet with her first customer named Wayne Johnson, who has just woken up and appears to be confused. Teresa soon realizes that he's in the same situation as she is, so she assures him that she can assist him. She asks him in hushed tones if he remembers his past, but at the same time, Pam interrupts them, forcing them to change the subject. Later, Teresa takes him to a house and pretends to give him a house tour. She runs a loud sound of the dryer and warns Wayne about the cameras and microphone, claiming that they are being watched. She then asks what he remembers, to which he says he remembers waking up in a chamber and seeing many other chambers filled with people. Back in the orientation, Megan asks the students what they remember before arriving at Wayward Pines Hospital. Coincidentally, all three of them had an accident, rendering them unconscious and landing them at Wayward Pines. Megan claims they must have assumed they were unconscious for a few hours, but that wasn't the case. Megan claims that it wasn't an accident, but instead, they were all chosen to be part of a special community and to survive the human race. She goes on to say that they were kept in hibernation chambers, which can keep people alive for more than 2,000 years, and that they eventually ended up as the first generation of Pines kids. She then reveals that the year is 4028, not 2014. Here, we learn that Wayward Pines is set way in the future and it's bleak as hell. She also tells them about David Pilcher, who saw the abbeys coming, so he created Wayward Pines and filled this place with humans to continue the human race. After saying all of this, Megan forbids them from sharing it with anyone else because a student once shared it with his parents, causing his entire family to perish. Following this, the three of them attend the candle handling ceremony, where they are welcomed to the first generation by the other students. Meanwhile, Ethan finds out the hard way when he comes across a bear and boys. Soon after, Dr. Jenkins, who is none other than David Pilcher, arrives in the helicopter with Pam to reveal the truth to Ethan. However, they hear the abbeys approaching, so they all get on the helicopter and fly back to Wayward Pines. David takes Ethan to his huge facility, where he has several volunteers as well as his sister, who is none other than Pam herself. While David is busy with something, Pam takes Ethan to the medical room and applies first aid to his wound caused by abbeys. During this, she informs him that David wants him to be a part of the team and assist him in protecting Wayward Pines. On the other hand, Teresa is attempting to learn more about the mysterious Plot 33 mentioned by a disgruntled ex-realtor named Henrietta. When her boss, Bill, notices this, he takes the file away and warns her not to look at the plot maps unless he specifically asks for it. After a while, Kate walks into Teresa's office and invites her to join her for coffee. It is revealed that Kate summoned Teresa for coffee solely to allow the delivery man, Ted, to steal the package from Teresa's cabin. At the coffee shop, Kate uses the time to extend an olive branch, trying to persuade her to set aside the past things about the affair between Ethan and herself, and consider her as an ally in finding the truth. While Kate distracts Teresa with her conversation, Ted steals the package and delivers it to Kate's husband, Harold. Meanwhile, David leads Ethan to a large area containing a number of hibernation chambers that are filled with people. When Ethan notices this, he accuses David of abducting the people and forcibly bringing them to this desolate place. David responds that the people's future generation will undoubtedly require his assistance, as the future will be taken over by abbeys. As a result, he is doing all of this to save them. He then talks about how he and Pam gathered a group of people, including Dr. Fisher, Megan, and the late Sheriff Pope, to assist them in racking up future inhabitants. He also claims that he chose people who were depressed from their lives and desired a fresh start. Following this, he along with his volunteers left the old world in 2014 and went to sleep for 2,000 years. According to David's algorithms, 2,000 years would be enough time for the environment to reset and for the planets to thrive after all humans died out. He goes on to say that when he awoke from his hibernation chamber, he realized that his sacrifice and hard work had been completely worth it because after 2,000 years, they were the only humans left. Furthermore, he claims that the first generations are the source of the Enlightenment and should be protected. Despite his efforts to save them, some reckless groups are attempting to remove their chips, harm the people, and tear down the fence. After hearing all this, Ethan agrees to protect the residents of Wayward Pines from Abby's reckless groups and even from David. On the other hand, the reckless group includes Kate and Harold, who are in their knick-knack shop preparing a music box bomb with the help of materials stolen by Ted. Meanwhile, Teresa is at the office, and as soon as Bill walks out, she steals the map of Plot 33. The next morning, Ethan returns home, and despite David's warning about not informing anyone, he tries to explain everything to his wife. However, Teresa is unable to comprehend anything and looks at him in disbelief. Later, Ethan notices a problem with his truck, so he asks Teresa to walk Ben to school. When they arrive at the school, Teresa, who is curious about what the students are learning, asks Megan if the school will hold parent-teacher conferences. Megan asks that she keep her child safe and leave the rest to them. Following this, Teresa walks towards Plot 33 and notices something unusual with its ground. At home, Ethan is investigating his truck and discovers a bomb inside. He then suspects the reckless group, so he goes to see a man named Franklin. However, Franklin doesn't reveal anything and walks away. Ethan, who is suspicious of him, follows him and meets Harold. Following this, Ethan takes him under custody and inquires about the members of the reckless group. But Harold remains silent, so Ethan hands him a piece of paper with a message for Kate and lets him go. At school, Megan teaches biology to the children, explaining that they will be the first one to produce their offspring in Wayward Pines. She also uses Ben and his friend, Amy, as an example, stating that there will be several couples among them. Amy appears to enjoy the session, thinking about being with Ben. It is revealed that Amy likes Ben a lot, and Ben enjoys her company as well. After class, Amy expresses her feelings to Megan and considers asking Ben out on a romantic date. Hearing this, Megan smiles and tells her to enjoy the moment. After this, she approaches Ben and invites him to a night walk in the woods, to which he agrees. Meanwhile, Teresa goes to work and informs Bill of the unusual terrain at Plot 33. Hearing this, Bill appears hesitant to discuss the plot and asks that she not visit there. He then signals the hidden microphone, alerting her to the fact that they are being watched and causing Teresa to stop speaking. On the other hand, Kate receives the message from Ethan and visits his place. Ethan is aware that Kate is the leader of the reckless group who is planning to blow up the fence in order to escape. He tries to explain David's point, attempting to persuade her not to take down the fence. Just like Teresa, Kate is unable to accept the truth and believes he has been brainwashed and is working for the person who built the entire place. Following this, Kate approaches Harold and claims that the bombing process must be accelerated. However, Harold doesn't think that would be a good idea because Ethan is already aware of them. Despite this, Kate remains firm and orders all of their members to begin working on the bombing plan. In the evening, Harold meets Ted in a restaurant and hands him the music box bomb, which Ted keeps in the back of his truck. It is also revealed that Ted was the one who planted the bomb on Ethan's truck earlier. The same night, Kate, Franklin, and the rest of their team members, except for Harold and Ted, plant the bomb on the fence and wait for it to detonate. Shortly after, Ethan arrives with a gun and demands that the bomb be defused. When Kate refuses to do so, he holds her at gunpoint and threatens Franklin to defuse it. Left with no choice, Franklin defuses the bomb, and following this, Ethan locks everyone in the prison, isolating Kate from the others. Ethan then asks Kate to convince her team to put a stop to all of this because they will no longer be able to return to their old world. Kate responds that it won't stop because it has just begun. Hearing this, Ethan realizes Harold is still missing and that there is another bomb. He rushes over to Pam and asks her to locate Harold. During this, they discover the CCTV footage of Harold handing the bomb to Ted. Ethan then locates Ted and rushes over to him. Meanwhile, Ben sneaks out of the house to meet with Amy. After that, they both sneak into Ted's delivery truck and drive off into the woods. Soon after, Amy discovers the music box and, unaware that it's a bomb, she triggers it. Ethan speeds up his truck in the hope of catching Ted's truck, but the reckless group members wreck his truck with a dumpster on the way. Despite this, Ethan runs towards Ted's truck, but he is a bit late as the truck explodes in his face, throwing Amy and Ben out on the street, bruised and bloodied. Amy is standing up dazed, but Ben is lying on the ground, all messed up. Subscribe to see more videos like this, turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thanks for watching.